I'm gonna talk all about matcha today. It's been a little bit of time since I've done a matcha focus here, so no agenda other than to finish grinding all this matcha that we started grinding at the Small Tea Grower Festival. Of course, I'm here by myself, so it's been kind of hard to finish this project here of grinding the matcha. So I figured I'd do it today. Additionally, I'm going to do it on Reddit. I'm going to go live on Reddit just so we can get the interest and we can get some nice questions to answer. But if certainly if you have questions, go ahead, put them in the chat. I'll definitely answer them for you. I will try my best to be educational today. I'm going to be posting to the masterclass section of Reddit, so it's under the rules that I have to make it educational, which is not an issue. When it comes to tea, I have no problem making it educational. Gonna be playing some oh, that's cool. So the Stream Elements is going to be working, so I could have that working in the background. Cool. Streaming some Japanese surf music today. Maybe we'll learn some new cool music. This is pretty cool sounding. I'm liking it. Hey, BB Bubs, good to see you. Yeah, I'm having a tea party. I'm gonna make some matcha. I have something really special here. I have what's called the Ishi Usu. This is the Ishi Usu here, right next to me. This is the traditional stone grinder that's used for grinding matcha. And I've got all the real things here, you know. I've got some, this is what's called the tencha. This is the raw form of matcha. Let me make this big, I show you. The raw form of matcha is this, it's called tencha. And this goes into the stone grinder through the top here. And then you turn this and the powder comes out the sides, just kind of like an old traditional rice grinder or any other kind of grain grinder that you might have seen before. Very cool little device here. And then of course I'll be whisking up the bowl of matcha here as well. I'm just getting set up. Beautiful Tuesday here in Las Vegas. Loving it. Oh yeah, BB Duds, you were talking about potentially coming here. Well, don't let people fool you into thinking that we always have terrible weather here. We do have good weather here for a couple of months out of the year, and this is kind of one of those times right now. It is awesome. So what else is awesome is just everything. I love my tea table, you know, and that's what tea culture and tea lifestyle is all about. You know, people always ask me if I can teach them, you know, about tea, and it's like, sure, I can teach you whatever, but it's only just like the basics that you have to get introduced to. The rest of the magic of tea is really your own personality and how you share that authenticity with someone else. So what I practice here, and what many people in my tea circles, if that's what you want to call it, we practice something that we call gung fu cha, or gung fu tea. Now this is the same gung fu from kung fu. You probably have heard of that term before, kung fu. And that translates in Chinese, that translates to just doing something with great skill. And that great skill doesn't necessarily have to come from experience, although in experience, you're going to acquire a better understanding of who you are and what your authenticity is. So your gung fu is going to get better over time. But ultimately, that great skill it's a intention set. The intention that you are going to serve your guests the best that you possibly can. And that hospitality extends far beyond just the tea in the bowl, or what's physically served to you, but that hospitality is the space that you're holding for them, and that you are trying to make them feel the best that they can, and presenting yourself in the most vulnerable way that you can to make them feel more comfortable. So it's interesting. The lifestyle of tea is very interesting. The spelling on that, gung fu, Fu. So Gongfu. So it's like kind of like kung fu, but gong fu, which yeah, I've heard it's the same words. So even like if you're practicing martial arts and you're practicing your kung fu, that's just mindfulness. It's like really putting your best foot forward so that you can do the best that you can do. And in the context of serving tea, that's serving the best cup of tea that you can serve with someone. So the way that you hold space the best is, it's always a joke among all of my hippie circle friends, is gung fu cha. So the cha is tea. So the full word of it, the full practice of what is being done here and what the tea circles all practice is gung fu cha. But the idea of gung fu can be applied to anything. So I'm always telling people that I just practice gung fu. They ask me why I like to hand whip my whipped cream. It's like, that's gung fu, right? Because that's something. If you are using a mixer, especially if it's like on a timed thing and you're just letting it do its own thing, there's like no mindfulness in that at all. And in that process, it's very easy to make mistakes. It's very easy to homogenize things and to make them of less value. But when you hand whip the cream, you're going to work really hard at it, and you're going to be super intent focused on it. And if you're a good chef, you're going to know exactly the right point when that cream is perfect, because your flow is in there, you're feeling its texture. And so, some might say that whipping cream by hand is a practice of gung fu. I had a friend over at my house, we were cooking some food, and he had some black peppercorns that he wanted. No. He had like rock salt. He had some nice, beautiful pink Himalayan salt, but it was in big chunks. And he asked me if he could use my coffee grinder to grind it up. And I was like, Nick, we practice gung fu in this house. You better believe I have something proper for that. It's just that whole intention. So that's why, sitting down at my tea table may be a 5 to 7 hour process, because we're practicing gung fu. We're doing the best that we can, and creating the best hospitality that we can. So in that vulnerability and service, the most ideal is if we are authentic, right? Like, no one feels comfortable and feeling like space is being held for them when that person is being fake, is being superficial, is not being themselves. When they're being comfortable in themselves and authentic, you're going to feel more warm. So that's also part of that gung fu. And so people ask me, what utensils do I need to buy? What's the perfect setup I need to have for my tea so that I can be the best tea server that I can be? And I say, well, I can tell you the basics. I can tell you what the basic equipment is, but ultimately your gung fu is going to be acquired in time, where you learn what is best for you as a server, and what things. So like, this whole thing is mine. Like, you will not see a tea table like this anywhere else in the world, anywhere else. All the tea pets are a very common thing in tea culture. This is a very common, actually, I just saw a documentary on this, that this is the very original first version of a tea pet. And tea pets, they're just like fun little iconic ceramic beings, usually like animals, part of the horoscope, the Chinese horoscope. But the pee boy is actually the very first one that was ever invented, and the pee boy is a cool bit of physics, thermodynamics, I believe, that goes on where if you super chill this and then you pour the boiling water on top of it, when the water passes, what is this little pee hole here? Santa Elvis, yeah. This is only for the holidays. Santa Elvis and Homer Elvis with, or Homer, Santa Homer with a box of donuts. That's key, the box of donuts. But yeah, when the water goes over the pee hole, the cold temperature against the hot water causes like a force of pressure through that little hole, and it squirts the water out. It squirts it out pretty far. Maybe I'll do it on stream one time. I'll make a fun game when I have a big audience, you know, because it's kind of a thing to. And then of course I have my bacon rock here. So this is actually quartz that has ferrous deposits on the top of it. And in China, these are really popular for them to find and then cut them up to look like pieces of pork belly. So I can always tell people that I have petrified bacon on my table. But yeah, anybody that knows me around the world, it's become kind of a thing. They understand my love for pork. I'm a pig myself when it comes to the Chinese horoscope. So I definitely embrace that character. So now when I travel around the world, you know, all these like rural farmer families, they always like to have a nice meal prepared for you when you've traveled all across the world to come visit them. And over the years, they come to learn what you love. And so when you come, it's like your favorite things are there. And now it's gotten to a point where all the villages are like, oh, Elise is coming, we're killing a pig. We got to have pork at every meal, and they all know it, so it only makes sense. And then this little guy is like a new addition. Lizzie from Kappa Toys came by yesterday to pick up some tea, and she left this as a gift to me. This is a little glow-in-the-dark, little cutie, like Japanese toy. So like the concept of the toy is that it's like it's a surprise what's in the box. You don't know what's in the box, and so once you open it, then you see I got the little hidden, or the peekaboo, the little peekaboo guys. So now if my power ever goes lights and the lights go out, I've got, you know, a little light to guide me here. This one's a more like conventional Chinese tea pet, little rabbit, cutie. So anyway, I'm going to get going on my matcha, and I'm going to talk about matcha, and I'm going to answer your questions about matcha, because a lot of people, like, and this is just for tea in general, too, is that a lot of people, they think they know. Yeah, once I get to the point of making emotes, like, there's definitely gonna be, like, tea pet. I mean, definitely the pee boy, this is, like, an icon for tea lovers. Like, people know, like, tea lovers know the pee boy, they love it. And then, yeah, bacon rock would definitely be, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. And these aren't toys, these are tea pets. These are tea pets. This is very serious tea business over here. There's no toys. Like, I know this was intended to be a toy, but I have turned it into my space holding tool. So when someone like you comes and sits at my tea table and I'm serving a cup of tea to you, you will feel my warmth. You will feel my personality. You will feel who I am, including my boyfriend here. He actually sings, but he sings really obnoxious music. There's only one good song he sings, and I just don't know if it's going to be a good one or not. But tell you what, I'm gonna go grab my hot water because it's ready for me to start making the matcha, and then I'm gonna leave us with a little Elvis music, live music here, live music. And then also, when I get back, I'm gonna turn Reddit on, because I know if I go to Reddit, I'll get a lot of questions, and I can just like fire off the questions about matcha. All right, Elvis, what do you got? Elvis every time. Sounded a little rusty there, Elvis. Might need to oil up your joints a little bit there. So that's one of Elvis's Christmas songs there. BB Bubs, how was your weekend? Oh, I can't wait until you start cooking with that cannabis. I'm gonna be watching. I got to get on your Discord. I got a photo. Yes, that's a good question, BB Buns. But yeah, I've got a photo of a matcha cannabis cake that I made for Hubert Keller. I got invited to through some cool friends I have here in town. I'm also friends with Hubert Keller, and he throws like the raddest birthday party like I've ever been to in my life. And it's an institution among like all of the high profile hospitality elite here in Las Vegas. That is the party of the year you have to attend. And I got an invitation, and Hubert's always talking to me about cannabis, because like I'm one of the young pups hanging out in the crew, and they're like, what do you know about cooking with cannabis? And I know something. And he says, I want to start a company. I want to get really into it. And so I decided I'd make him a cannabis cake for his birthday. And I made a crepe cake, so a matcha crepe cake. So it was green. So the whole cake itself was green from the matcha. And then, actually, maybe I'll just pull it up. Oh, it's in my phone. The picture is that risque that I haven't even. But I was gonna get into your Discord and post that to your Discord for this week. Because I even did like a cool little decoration on it. And they loved it. I was so nervous too because like I didn't know how the party was going to be. I didn't know it was going to be like all these high profile hospitality people. I just thought it was, Hubert and his wife, and a couple of friends, and turns out that there's all these famous French chefs there, and I'm like, oh, here's a French pastry I made, but it's got cannabis. And they ended up loving it. They were just so amazed by it. We ate the whole thing, and I mean, there was certainly lots of intoxicants being consumed that day. Here, I'm emailing it to myself right now. I'll show it to you right now, but I'll send it to your Discord as well. All right, I'm gonna get going on I'm gonna make myself a bowl of matcha right now, and then I'm gonna go grind some matcha, and then I'll make more matcha. And this whole process, I'll probably be live for like another hour and 15 minutes or so, and then I got a business meeting with the matcha farmers actually, so gotta go get ready for that. Here we go. How do you like that? Happy birthdays. You like that? Cute, yeah? I don't know. I'm not a great, I know they don't really look too good when I make them, but they definitely taste very good, and got us pretty lit. That was pretty fun. So there was that. Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, that party had to get canceled this year, which was a big deal to all of my friends, because they're like, people come from all over the world. I couldn't believe all the people that I met, and not just hospitality people, but like, Hubert's like, he's lived a pretty cool life, and that's the thing that's cool about chefs, especially the high profile chefs like that, is that their patrons, tend to be incredible people. So there was like celebrities and professional athletes there. Happy birthdays. I couldn't think of anything cheeky. That was the cheekiest thing that I could think of. But that was probably like my most epic like cannabis, and it had tea in it too. And it worked out great. You know, the matcha flavor, you know, it's like earthy grassiness. It really complements that cannabis flavor that when you're cooking with it, you really can't get rid of that flavor. So rather than trying to mask that flavor, I always like to like find other experiences, other sensations that change your perception of that flavor or that characteristic. So my water is at like 165 degrees Fahrenheit right now. You don't necessarily have to. Okay, before I go, I'm gonna show you guys how beautiful all this stuff is. So that's the color of this matcha. That's the color of good matcha. I'll show you a little trick right now how you can tell good matcha. If you use white paper, I always have all these little pieces of white paper because they're so useful. I was just sifting it. Yeah, I was using a little sifter like this. And that breaks down the powder because the powder, even though it's ground with that stone grinder, with the stone grinder here, which makes a very, very fine powder, because the powder just comes out the sides right here between these two heavy stones. So the powder that's collecting here is very fine, but the air has moisture in it, and so you will get like little clumps. So it's good to put it through that little strainer, and you get no more clumps. Clumps are out. Just like sifting flour. Just want to make it more. But yeah, what I want to show you is like if you're getting matcha from somewhere and you just want to test its quality, this is how the pros do it. Take a little piece of white paper and make a little mound with the matcha. And then simply just using your finger. I mean, first of all, on the white paper, you can see the contrasts of color, which is helpful. So you can see just how vibrant green it is. But then also on the white paper, when you run your finger on it, you can feel its true texture. So you just like put your finger on it on the mound and then just like make a line, like you can make art. And it should feel like silk. It should feel like paint when you do that versus feeling like grainy. And that's how you can tell if they use the traditional stone grinder or if they use a more commercial process. The reason why the traditional stone grinder is still necessary for the official title of ceremonial grade of matcha is because it gets it to that fine silky powder. When you use the more commercial grade, bigger scale processing, the machines cannot reach the same speed that, you know, this can go. Like, it can't create that much pressure to grind it, or else the whole thing will explode because it's a bigger batch, like it's more force. So they can't produce the same, you know, silky texture. Yeah, it's pretty wild. What's even more wild is the extra care that has to go into the growing. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe what I'll do is I'll just show the video. show the video. So this is the grower's profile on our website. Make this bigger. I think Kuni will like it with this music. So that's what's harvested.
Hi, my name is Kunikazu Mochitani, and he's the Yoshiaki Hattori. This is his farmland, and we're making
That's
matcha.
the traditional stone grinder
With underneath the solar
with the
system like this.
mechanical arm on it.
This is like これ何年でしたっけ？3年。3年目。It's coming to be 3 years old, and then we planted. Yeah, the cultivar is a samidori, and then why we're doing this? This land was left over. The farmer before had stopped cultivating this land, so Hattori was asked to do the farming on this land. So what he did was this region has like 90, maybe 9% is always making Yabukita sencha, but since these days the matcha is really famous, and he's trying to make the authentic way of the traditional matcha kind of making. So with the traditional matcha, we need covering the shades when the harvest time is. So actually the shelves for the shading is really important for matcha cultivation. So this was the idea brought to make the shade shelves, collecting the investment back from the generation of the electrics itself. It's kind of like an eco project. We're kind of like researching how the lights affect to the plants, taking away and thing. We have the plantation over there, which planted at the same time without the solar panel over there. Seems like the taking certain amount of the lights affecting the tree grow good, better than that place over there. So it's Hattori has this method of traveling all the world, tea districts all over the world, and then he found out there is a technique of the all over the world has the technique called shade growing. So this for the high quality tea. So these solar panels supposed to be doing that the same kind of thing. It's like a light control, sunlight controlling for the teas.
So there it is. That's it. That was the farm. So I showed that video just to give you guys an idea of what the shading is about, and that is like super crucial. And how you can evaluate a matcha if it's been properly shaded is in the color. That's why color of matcha is really important, because that's what the shading is doing. The shading is blocking out any of the sunlight, and this is like right when the tea is the most, like growing, and because after the winter months, the plant's been hibernating, and then when it starts to warm up, the sun is out, and those plants, all they fucking want to do is respirate. But the farmers will block out that sun, and it's essentially torture. For at least 4 weeks prior to harvest, the plant is depleted of sunlight. So there's no photosynthesis that happens. So the color of the tree will be a lot darker in color, like a more deeper forest green versus a yellow green. A yellow green is what happens when the plants are respirating, and all of those compounds change. And those changes are good, but then they can also be negative. They can be tannic. That's the tannins are produced, and then it leads to more bitterness and astringency in the tea. And so that's why like really good quality ceremonial grade matcha will be sweet versus astringent. And that sweetness comes from the amino acids. And so, the fifth term of taste bud of it increases chlorophyll. Exactly, yeah, because the chlorophyll doesn't convert. Hey, Robert, it's good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, so the shading it stops the chlorophyll from converting into the they turn into. But there's several different compounds that come out of those reactions from the respiration process that the plant is doing with the sun. So yeah, they get tortured for 4 weeks and they come out sweeter. It's funny, we have a client that often joins in on these virtual tea parties on the Thursdays. On Thursdays at 2 p.m. we do tea talks and we meet and discuss our tea lives and our tea friendships and everything. And in Indiana, he has a brand targeting Catholics that he's found different sales channels of how to target different Catholic communities, and he always focuses on telling the story of suffering and the evolution of the quality of something when there's more suffering there. So yeah, BB Buds, you're here. Maybe you have an opinion on this, but I mean, they always say that like smaller is better. And this is connected to that same mantra that, doing things in smaller amounts, just like whipping the cream by hand, you have like a more intimate connection to all those processes going on. You'll do a better job. So, so in China tea industry right now, the really high quality, high value segment of the Chinese tea industry, it's very niche. It's not a big production. It's like artisanal production. They're toying around with something called biological farming. And that's where they don't use any kind of fertilizers or pesticides, even organic ones. No manures, nothing, because they believe that if you let those tea plants just grow on their own and grow within their own challenges, that what is produced, maybe a smaller quantity, will be much higher in quality. Oh, Robert, I want to know about that. So you say that this sounds like when you increase your hemoglobin at low altitude. I don't know anything about that, Robert, but that would be interesting. I'd love to, if you want to type in briefly at your leisure how that commonality is. Because, yeah, I don't know anything about increasing hemoglobin at low altitude. I'll have to research it now. That sounds interesting. It's one of those biohacking things, huh? I'm not into that. Although matcha is an active part of biohacking, because nootropics are really hot right now in that community, and nootropics are essentially extracted from tea. That's why I like to call tea the nootropic of the gods, because it's already all, it's already all set up for you. Oh, you meant high altitude. So are you saying that yeah, I wanna know what that reference that you're making. I'm gonna make my tea now though, because I've been taking too long. All right, so I'm not doing a tea ceremony right now. This is not a Japanese tea ceremony. And if you ever do see someone preparing a bowl of matcha like this, and they call it a ceremony, is probably not. Like a Japanese tea ceremony, you will know when you are in a Japanese tea ceremony. More than likely you will be in a designated Japanese tea house that you had to crawl inside to get into, and wait 3 hours sitting in that very uncomfortable position on your ankles to wait for your one bowl of tea. If you experience that, that is a Japanese tea ceremony. I am just simply making a bowl of matcha. All right, so, and even at that, the method that I'm using to make this bowl of matcha, you saw that, like how fine this powder is. When the water hit the mound of matcha there, it caused like a poof, like a cloud of the powder to come out. So this came actually from inside the bowl. All right, so I got my Chaucin. This is the whisk, and this is the bowl, Chaucin, the matcha bowl. This is actually made by my friend Marie in Albuquerque, New Mexico. not made in China. If you want to look them up, I'll put the link after I finish this. I'll put the link up in the chat. Okay, so I'm doing like an American modification on the Japanese preparation method. And this was actually started by some, I don't know who can take credit for this method, but I give credit to some random baristas because I first started seeing it in coffee shops as matcha started to become more popular in coffee shops. Coffee shops, of course, are very fast-paced environments. And so leave it to the baristas to figure out how to quickly and consistently make a good bowl of matcha. So I had just put a little bit of water in there. You can see here how much water. And I made this paste. I mean, it's so much of a paste you can see it's like still stuck on the tings of this bamboo whisk. So this whisk is important. It's the most ideal way for getting the froth on the matcha. And in the next step, I will show you about the froth. This step is just to mix all of the powder together with that water. You're making like a paste. And I could have made it into a thinner paste, but in this first step, I can run the whisk in every direction. I can like scrape it against the bottom of the bowl to make sure that everything got incorporated together. Now, when I add more water, this is where it's important for this whisk for making that froth. So again, just eyeballing more water to where I want my level at. And now when I go in for the whisking, I do not want the tings to hit the bottom of the bowl. I want there to be, you know, a little bit of space. And I'm only going to run the whisk in one direction, an up and down direction. So I'm not going to make circles or change the direction. I'm just going to make one up and down, and that movement is all in the wrist. So that's why that first step was important, because that's how I was able to like make sure that everything got incorporated. Now I'm just like doing a final little mix, but the most important part of this step is making this beautiful frothy level layer on top. So much that there's froth right there. I can't see it. This is ugly. I'm taking you out. We've finished this exercise. Done. I'll drink that later. Look at that. Perfect bowl of matcha every single time with that method. I've never seen that method used in Japan, only here in the States. But you see that level of froth on the top? It's almost like it's a latte, but it's literally just the ground up tea leaf and the water whisked together. It is lovely. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to go live to Reddit. I think it's that time. All right, we're on. Welcome to my tea room. I'm Elise. I'm in my tea room in lovely Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm making some matcha today. Like really making some matcha today. I just made myself a bowl of matcha here. I'm gonna drink this down. And then I'm gonna grind some matcha, grind some fresh matcha. I'm doing it, BB buds. I'm streaming to Reddit right now. Hi Reddit, what's up guys? Feel free to ask me any question you want about matcha. Yeah, BB buds, I stream to a lot of places. I'm like a multitasker, but you know, I'm not doing this for any kind of revenue stream or advertising. So I don't have any contracts with any of the platforms. So yeah, I'm free to put my content out anywhere I want to put it. And I've been building quite a community on various channels for years now, 8 years now. I've been studying tea and sharing my journey in studying tea, and I'm new. I'm new to streaming to Twitch and to Reddit. So yeah, Reddit guys, if you are on Twitch and you want to learn more about tea, go follow me on Twitch. I'm Let Tea. Yeah, I do it everywhere. I am getting into doing more like Twitch specific streams. But usually I like putting the Twitch and the Reddit together because Reddit always has lots of questions. You guys got questions about matcha. This is powdered green tea from Japan. Let's see. This is actually the raw form of it. This is called tencha. This is harvested in the springtime, so it's crucial. And I'll tell you, so these are the main factors that make ceremonial grade matcha ceremonial grade. So first is in the cultivation. Oh my God, I just took a sip of this and I'm like super like tea drunk already. I'm like talking a million miles an hour. But here's the requirements needed for making ceremonial grade matcha. You have to shade it for 4 weeks with 2 layers of blackout shade at least 4 feet above the plant. So that's why they use those solar arrays to hold the shading material up. You need to have that. The next requirement is that all the tea leaf has to come from the first flush. That's the first harvest of the spring season after the winter dormant season. The tea plants will flush again over and over again. Every 2 weeks, actually, you could go out and harvest new tea leaf to make the matcha. But as the new flushes come out, the quality of and the concentration of all of those like amino acids that make the matcha so sweet and also so high in the theanine that causes that mental focus and the body relaxation. That's all going to be the most concentrated in the first flush. So you have to use only the first flush. Then the next requirement is in this process of making the tencha, you have to remove the stems. So this tencha here is really just the steamed and dried tea leaf, no stems in it. The stems do change the character of the tea and also affects the texture of the grinding process once you grind it. So hi guys, yeah, so matcha is powdered green tea. I'm drinking it right here. You just mix it in with the water and it makes a lovely mind-altering beverage. Mind-altering in a good way. All right, so that was 3 of the requirements. Another requirement is that, of course, you have to use the stone grinder. You have to use this traditional stone grinder to get that very consistent silky texture that you want from like a bowl of ceremonial grade matcha like this. Again, if you use the big commercial machines, you cannot get it to the right speeds to get the right texture. So they have to use these small machines here. So that factory where we get this matcha from, it will have like 24 to 30 of those machines all lined up in a room, each of them having their own like sanitation cage around them so that the no moisture can get into that process because we're working with a very fine powder here. And then the final requirement for, technically calling something a ceremonial grade matcha is the cultivars of the tea plants that you use. There are 4 main cultivars that are used. The 3 top premium ones are Saimadori, Oku, and Okumudori. Or Goku, sorry, Goko and Okumudori. But thing that's interesting about some new younger tea growers that we're working with Matcha Organic Japan is that they are using the theanine is awesome, isn't it? It's good. If you want theanine, just drink matcha tea. You don't need nootropics. You can just drink the matcha tea. The nootropics are expensive. Some of those companies charge you like over $1,000 a year, for getting your stack of to your different pills. You could just have like a practice of tea that's quite meditative and beneficial in itself, in addition to the chemical compounds within the tea. It does not grow in Machu Picchu. That's cute. No, it can grow anywhere. So like matcha does not have like a geographical identity tag, like champagne or pu'er tea actually has that. Like it has to come from the Yunnan area of China in order to call that style of tea pu'er. Matcha does not have that kind of geographical identification mark for Japan. But like I said, it has those 5 requirements. And you have to follow all 5 of those requirements to make a proper bowl of ceremonial grade matcha. So with the increased demand of matcha in the culinary scene, in the bar scene, in the coffee shop scene, matcha is like exploding. It is really hot. And so there's like this business opportunity that, you know, a lot of Chinese companies have embarked upon, and they're cutting corners so that they can produce more. And when you cut corners and you don't follow all 5 of those steps, you're not going to get the sweet, good magic stuff like what we have here. Matcha is not like yerba mate. So this is like this is a general tea knowledge fact that always surprises people. Is that tea, true tea, cha, the matcha, you know, that cha tea, that only comes from one plant. And from that plant, you can produce green, white, black, pu'er, oolong, and yellow tea. There's probably going to be even more categories of tea that we will come to discover in the future, but those are the main categories of tea. They all come from the same plant. And it's how you process that green leaf that you get the different types of tea. Yerba mate is a completely different plant. It has completely different properties to it. It is processed completely different. It is a completely different thing. So technically, yerba mate is not tea. But in our American culture, and what a lot of the rest of the world has adopted and kind of followed, is that anything that's infused in hot water, any herb or leaf or flower or anything that's infused in hot water, has been defined as tea. And that's because in America, we did not have a tea culture for a couple hundred years there. You know, we actually boycotted tea. Tea was like British, and we didn't want to be. How long does it take to kick in? Can you tell that it's kicked in for me? I'm like talking really fast, but my words are very articulated, and I know exactly what I'm going to say, and it smells. That's tea drunk. I'm tea drunk. That's awesome, guys. Yeah, we didn't have a tea culture. And so, you know, as these like things started being introduced to us, we changed the definition of tea to mean anything. What kind of hallucinogens do you experience right now? Hallucinations? There's no hallucinations. I'm just feeling like really smart and really focused. Some people will explain it that they feel like everything becomes like pixelated. Like all your visuals become pixelated so that you can see all the details and you can understand all of the details. I don't see things in that pixelation form. I've heard that before, but for me, I just feel like I'm really excited to share my ideas with you. My ideas are all very crystal clear, and I could just talk a million miles an hour to you right now. But it feels good too. All right, so right now I'm going to comment to you on what I'm feeling sensation-wise, not so much in my brain and in, you know, my body, but on my palate. I am feeling this amazing umami, and that was I was bringing that up earlier about the taste bud of umami that we've been introduced to from Japanese culture. That term means a lot. And umami is something, I'm not a shaman, nope, I'm a tea importer. I love how Reddit always assumes that like there's some kind of drug involvement and medicine involvement in what I do. Tea is just meant to balance your chi, equalize your chi in your body. So I do practice and I do advocate for a tea lifestyle, but it is not a medicine. It is not going to cure anything. It is just going to balance you and make you stronger for whatever you do take on in your life. I'm drinking some matcha. I'll be smoking something later, but I'm drinking some matcha here. Oh, good question. Yeah, you win question of the day there. How come US doesn't have a tea culture since it was colonized by the Brits? Oh man, that is a story. That could be a whole stream in itself. That could be like a whole month long of streaming that I could do on that. But yeah, tea is a colonized thing, and tea has a 5,000 year history. but only about 200 of those years since the colonizing happened that you brought up, tea was like exclusively produced and consumed by a very small segment of human population. It was monks, and then slowly, the royalty and then the aristocracy started getting access to it. But for most of that 5,000 years, it was monks just like growing little tea bushes and making batches of tea for the L-theanine so that they could stay awake and focused while they're meditating. And the British fell in love with tea, the Europeans really, and there was like a whole market there. And yeah, the Brits, they definitely did grow a big liking for it and developed like a big demand for it and then the Chinese decided that they didn't value the gold, and they didn't want to trade the gold for the tea, so they just stopped trading. And so then the Brits actually realized, hey, you know, we're in India over here. They've got this like really great thing called opium. We can introduce it to the Chinese and we can just create our own little black market trade here. And that worked. They created this whole like drug trade between you know, farms in India that they had access to or control of. They brought it into China. They were directly trading the opium for the tea. And then the Chinese emperor was like, no, we can't have this. I can't have a bunch of drug addicts in my country. And so that started the Opium Wars. And so the Opium Wars were all about friggin' tea. So anyway, I just got distracted a little bit. It's such an interesting, cool story to share. And we could talk more about that another time. Find me. You know, I'm easy to find in this world. If you find me, you can ask me any question you want about tea. I'm at Tealet, Tealet. Just find that on the internet. You'll find me. I am it. I am Tealet. I am the only person in Tealet. You'll find me there. But, you know, like, people think about, like, British tea culture and, like, as that being the OG thing, or, like, even Chinese culture and the Brits colonized it. And it's like, yeah, they colonized it, but, like, it wasn't even like a big part of Chinese culture before they colonized it. That's where gunboat diplomacy came from. I've never heard of that term before. I'm gonna look that up. I like that term. Thanks for sharing that. Bat balls forever. Funny name. I never heard of that term before. I'm looking that up. Thank you. Yeah. So we don't have the tea culture in the United States because of the whole Boston Tea Party. We were like, fuck you. You want to tax us on our tea? Like, you don't want it. And actually, I've come to learn that the tea that they threw off the Boston Harbor was actually very good quality tea. It was probably very valuable. And it was like, it's a heartbreaking thing for tea lovers now because we hear about it as like Taiwanese oolong. It's like high mountain Taiwanese oolong tea. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe we threw that all in the harbor. But it was all to prove a point that you do not tax our tea. And ever since that point, no other country in the entire world has ever put a tax or duty on tea. It is the only commodity in the world that does not have a tax or a duty. Very cool. And that's all because of the Boston Tea Party. And that is also why we did not have a tea culture in the United States, because from that point forward, drinking tea, tea time, high tea, all of those things were associated with British culture, and we were trying to separate ourselves from that. I don't know. Are you guys still noticing my tea high? Because like I feel like I'm just like talking a lot. Okay. So gunboat diplomacy is foreign policy that is supported by the use of threat of military force. There is a very interesting video. I don't know. Maybe you can find it on the internet, but it's like talking about how the British and the Chinese government were like the biggest drug cartel in history because of this specific story with the opium going from India into China. All right, so I'm pretty good on the talking about drinking this matcha. I'm feeling that umami. The umami is like a textural thing. It's like a textural sweetness. It's not just a taste bud. It's like textural. I feel like blanketed with like sweetness and in like blooming. And I finished this matcha. I mean, there's just a little bit left in there now, but I pretty much finished the whole bowl several minutes ago, and I'm still feeling all of those sensations. So yeah. Hey Kayla, what's up, Kayla Bear? You do seem to have a tea hike going. I do. I need more tea. I'm gonna make more tea, so I gotta make some more matcha now. I'm gonna change this little camera view here. Let me go over here. You can see it. Here we go. So this right here is called, it's a traditional Japanese stone grinder. It is called a Ishiusu. And what I did was I had my tencha grind. So this is like the raw matcha. No stems, only from the first flush, shaded for 4 weeks prior to harvest. The only thing of those requirements that I'd said that this does not meet is that this is using the Yabukita cultivar, which is specifically for sencha processing, but it's still making a very good quality. And so it's proving that, you know, maybe we can expend that. Do I trade tea? I do trade tea. So that's the tealet. Tealet.com. Tealet, tealet.com. You can see what I do there. So this stone grinder is calibrated so that the grooves that's causing this grinding to actually happen is activated counterclockwise. So I trade tea. I run a technology platform. It's a software. I'm a technology company CEO. We are venture backed, and it's B2B marketplace software between independent tea growers and wholesale tea buyers. So I facilitate direct trade between family farms around the world. So that's all throughout Asia and Africa, starting to work with some in South America as well. And so I'm just going to be grinding. Do you see much action? Do you see much of the matcha? So the matcha, you should see it coming out the side, out this one. I like what's happened with this music. It's gotten nice. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to go in 10 minutes. How did the time go so fast? I'm talking too much. I'm starting to feel my tea high go down, so that's good. But I'll just have to drink another bowl. So I am seeing some come out the sides. You starting to see it? A little of it spilling out the sides. Try to go faster. But I do have a retail website, you know, since the pandemic has really slowed down a lot of the trade of tea to restaurants. They've been closed down. I launched a retail website, and that is teaanditspeople.com. And there, you know, you can learn about all the farms that we work with, see all the teas. All right. So this is how it is. This was the handle I was using. And this just fits inside the hole in the side of the stone. These are two just solid stones. So that's what's using for turning it. A piece of broken bamboo. That's why it has all my friends' band stickers on it. And that holds it together for doing the turning. Then, I'm just going to show you the inside of the stones. I see Corgi talking about matcha today. Look at that. Pretty cool, yeah? So those grooves are calibrated on both sides of these stones so that it'll create that grind. And so this is the tencha that still has yet to be ground. It was stuck on that dowel there. So I still have some more work to do. If I can do it. Yo! Oh, there we go. Oh, you see that? It's all starting to come out now. It's all coming out now. It's pretty cool. Again, if you guys like this, I will be coming back to Reddit more often to do these kind of quick fire question and answer sessions, but you should come join me on Twitch. We throw big events there. We actually throw virtual tea festivals there. So, but I do stream there regularly on Mondays. I talk about dignified hospitality. On Wednesdays, I do a Constitution study group, and then on Thursday we do a tea talk. So in our virtual tea house, a bunch of tea friends come together, and yeah, you know, my friend that was grinding last night, he hardly did any. I had to finish it all. He like put all the tencha in there, and then it didn't finish, but I'll make another bowl of matcha now. So let's see, collect all of it. Actually got quite a bit. Definitely could make a couple bowls of matcha here. Okay, so BB Buds, you're asking what's my best, worst dish ever made with matcha. So my best dish is matcha tiramisu. That you just, oh my God, it's killer. The worst one was probably when I tried to make, and this was like very early on when I started playing around with matcha. I tried to make a tres leches cake, and that came out pretty bad. Just like the color of it looked really not appetizing, which is a big deal, you know? Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm just using this little strainer here to make sure it's extra fine. Any little moisture clumps are gone. I like this song. So my water is probably cooler at this point, probably like 145 or so. That's fine. You don't have to use boiling water. And then also you don't have to use cool water either. You can use any temperature of water that you want to use. I'm just putting a little bit in there just so I can get it all mixed up. Well mixed. Yeah, it takes some time. So like when you first put the tencha into this grinder and start grinding, sometimes it could take like 45 minutes of just constantly going until you start noticeably seeing the matcha come out the side. I see Corgi, how you doing? Yeah, I was inspired the other night. I came on here and I was like, wow, people are interested in tea. I need to help encourage that more and more. Okay, and so then now I am not allowing my whisk to hit the bottom of the bowl, and I'm just doing one consistent motion. If you see, my wrist is just moving and I'm just doing one consistent up and down motion. That's gonna help me get the ideal froth at the top of the bowl. This thing right here is called a Chaucin. This is made of bamboo. It's a single piece of bamboo that all the pieces get hand cut. This is a handmade one. This is a really nice one. You can buy like factory made ones at the like the discount Japanese store, but I'm sorry, I have to send an email really fast. I completely forgot. Check that out. Check that out. Nice frothy. Yum. the challenge, my hard work for this bowl of matcha. I can't say that. Sorry. Can you say it? You should say it. Oh, yummy. So good. So good. So good. Let's see. Let's do the challenge, right? Let me take a little mound of this. This is how you can tell if a matcha is a high quality matcha. So you take a little mound of it, put it on some white paper. So first you can see the color. So here you can see this is a very beautiful like forest green color. That's what you want. You don't want it to be yellowish or brownish because that's indicating some oxidation. Poor handling, poor storage, starting to oxidize, is probably starting to lose its aroma, lose its character. Man, look at that. I'm just going to show you guys so you can see how beautiful that is. Look how nice that is. Beautiful bowl of matcha. It looks like a latte, but it's not a latte. It's incredible. Kayla says that I'm reminding her of when they tried to induce Aang in the Avatar state. In Avatar The Last Airbender, they gave him this warrior tea and he was flying all over the place like, am I talking loud? Yeah, they probably just gave him a really good bowl of matcha. Yummy. Okay, so yeah, let's finish this this little test here. So I got my mound of matcha here. You just use your finger and you run your finger through it. It should feel like paint. It should feel silky. You see that is like paint. You don't really see like the grinds. You don't really see it coarse. And you feel coarse too when it's like that. So good. You guys all like to drink matcha? Let me know if you like to drink matcha. I always liked this one, the little matcha stand. Such an interesting ceramic shape. Sometimes I'll have this on my tea table with nothing on it and see how people react to it. They're like, why do you have a ceramic purple? I was like, oh no, it's for this. It fits that perfectly. Yeah, I am. I feel like Aang in that scene. I remember that, Kayla. Yeah, I'm feeling it hype. You know, that's why like people ask me, you know, like they want to make like matcha like a daily habit, and I actually don't advise on that. Like I definitely do not have a daily matcha habit, because yeah, I cannot be in this state all the time. I feel lifted. I feel great. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot more work done today, which is good. But then at the same time, like I can't be feeling this all the time. And then on top of that, the really good stuff, the valuable stuff like this, is it's worth some value, and that can become costly on one hand, but then also it can affect our perception of the value of that thing. Like when it's so abundant in our life, it's very easy for us to forget how sacred those things are and how special those things are. But you know, if you have just small amounts of it, and whenever you do have it, it's a special moment for you. It's a special time. Like right now, it's a special time. I'm sharing it with you guys while I'm getting my little tea drunk on. Then I cherish it more, and it's a more special thing. So on my day-to-day, my regular basis, I am not regularly drinking matcha like this. I like to drink maybe oolong tea or some gentle black tea on a regular basis. Well, welcome to the stream. I hope that you do get the opportunity to enjoy and experience good matcha sometime in your life. If you want help with that, you can follow me, you can message me. I'll let you know how you can get access to some good quality matcha. But if you just want to be relaxed and come hang out, you're also welcome to do that too. That is the purpose of tea. Actually, at the beginning of this stream, I was talking about this entire practice that I'm doing here is called Gung Fu Cha. And that's the same word in Chinese as Kung Fu, you may know from martial arts. And to do something in Kung Fu or Kung Fu is to do it with great skill. And that great skill doesn't necessarily have to come from experience, although with experience you do acquire that skill, but it's an intentional set. I set the intention of doing the best job that I can do to host to you, to serve you. If I'm serving you a cup of tea, of course, when I'm brewing my tea, I'm going to make sure I do the best job I can do. But additionally, you're coming into the stream, you're watching me from your home, wherever you are. I am practicing Gung Fu in trying to create an inspirational, educational, and relaxing experience for you. So thank you for coming by and enjoying that. You tried matcha with milk. It tasted like sushi and seaweed. There you go. That's it. That's umami. Yeah, umami is something like if you want to like reference to something that we're all familiar with in kind of making that comparison of what umami means as a sensation, definitely seaweed and mushrooms are very good examples of umami. It's like this like sweet savoriness, and it's more of a textural thing than anything else. So yeah, you definitely called out the right sensations there. The sushi, that's probably like overall, like, that's interesting that you called out like a flavor note, because I get it, I understand it. It's like the overall sensation of like fish and rice and protein and seaweed, all of that encapsulated into one thing. Yeah. Hey Teth. Mushroom umami? Yes, mushroom is umami. Bacon is also umami. Long live bacon, long live bacon, long live bacon. You see my bacon rock. Petrified bacon. Not really. This is a quartz that has ferrous deposits on the top, and the collector of these rocks has shaped them to look like pieces of pork belly. Hey, Snake Eye. Oh, you missed it. I ground some fresh matcha. I was working hard. I was sweating, and I got a little tea drunk. I'm like a little mellowed out now. A Snake Eye is here. Yeah, you guys missed it. I was going a little crazy about maybe like 20 minutes ago. How was that? Like 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago? I was talking like really, really fast. I couldn't stop. My ideas were flowing like this because I had too much L-theanine and too much caffeine, and I'm just feeling really, really good. Yeah, bacon stone. Oh, you've been here a while. Okay, good, Snake Eye. Yeah, I don't think you got any matcha in your pack. I'll have to throw in some matcha next time I send tea to you, Snake Eye. Oh, man. Yeah, this has been fun. This has been good. A meeting tomorrow. Well, I would say the only thing, Tef, you gotta make sure you got ready for that is your mask. I think that's it. The rest of it, this is 2020. Who needs to be prepared? I've got a meeting. I'm already 7 minutes late to it, and I'm not prepared for it. I at least emailed them and told them I was going to be late. Maybe they're watching now. Oh, Corey, they're trying to be in the meeting right now. Oh, I feel so bad. I should go take care of business. I didn't know I was going to stream for such a long time right now. I thought I was just going to come on, make some matcha. But that was cool. BB Buds was here earlier. He was asking, it's a virtual meeting. You should still wear your mask. You can never be too safe, Tef. I had a lot of meetings yesterday. That was crazy. I'd like bang, bang, bang. I think I had 3. They just like came in. I haven't had any physical meetings in a long time, and they all just came yesterday. It was great. Clean up the background. Oh, you don't use a green screen, fake background? I can give you some nice fake backgrounds. You you could definitely use. I'm gonna go ahead and just drink this. Why not? Why not? Take this one too. You can make all this matcha art. That's what's kind of fun, you know, whenever you do those analysis on the matcha powder to see if it's good quality or not. You could totally, you know, make different calligraphy or different art. For anybody interested in these great tunes that I've been playing today, I just searched Japanese surf rock on SoundCloud, and I'm just like randomly playing everything coming on. So there's been a little bit of surf rock, not too much. I would have thought there would have been more surf rock in Japan. I know there's definitely a fascination with all things tiki and quirky and Hawaiian and in Japan, so I thought there would have been more surf rock, but this has all been pretty fun vibes in the music. You want a proper green screen with all of it included? What makes a proper and improper? I think green screen's pretty simple. You just put a green fabric behind you. All right, guys, yeah, if you enjoyed learning about matcha, learning about tea, go ahead and follow me. I suggest you come onto Twitch. A lot of fun over there. Of course, the video experience is quite a bit better on Oh, your face is green? That's kind of funny. Paint your face green so when you're in the green screen, it's like your face disappears. I'm properly tea lit now. Properly. And I'm also properly late for my meeting, so I should go take care of that thing. And I love you guys. This has been fun. You know, I think I taught everything that needs to be learned about matcha. You know, the main thing that we all need to remember is that this is not a ceremony. There's no ceremony happening here. What makes a ceremony is when there is value attached to the process that you're doing. And, you know, of course, there's the value of enjoying a wonderful cup of matcha tea that's going to elevate me to a higher level of consciousness. But in a ceremony, in a proper ceremony, the intent is to not only attach value to that process, but to propagate the understanding and the practice of those values to a community. So be that community could be religious, it could be spiritual, but it doesn't have to be either. But it just, and so in Japanese tea ceremony, which has been a very important part of Japanese tea history, the schools and the practice of tea ceremony is taken very seriously. And every step, even how you will pick up the utensil that you're going to use and how you clean it, each one of those steps has some type of value attached to it. And studying that practice is not only about being able to execute all those steps, but also knowing those values and practicing those values even outside of the ceremony. Oh yay, Caleb Bear's on Twitch now. Caleb, I was thinking about that. We should, Cello Joe reached out to me last night. I'm thinking that we should offer to help him out. I was thinking you should do it actually, because you watch all of his streams already. So, I mean, I'm happy to do it for the practice. And I also like Cello Joe. I like his music. His tea song was his tea song was epic. I made a recording of that. I'm gonna post it. I'll post it up to like Instagram or something. But yeah, actually maybe I'll sign out with his tea song, and then you know I can say goodbye. Oh, goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm doing Constitution Study Group, talking about money, and I'm gonna have a friend on. Let's see. I think this was the good one. Here he is, Cello Joe. Cello Joe. With no audio. Did I not catch audio on his audio? Oh my God, are you kidding? I totally did not catch audio on his video. Oh, thanks for the wholesome vote up. I am pretty wholesome. Tea is pretty wholesome. I really didn't catch any of the, oh, I know why I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry, Kayla. I totally recorded it and didn't take any audio from it. Oh, well, I'll just have to go watch the video playback and record it. It's not rocket science. It's not the end of the world. I'll make it happen. All right, so now that all the cool kids are here on Twitch, I can go raid some other chat. Have some fun there. You accept the Kayla on Twitch. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, Kayla was getting into last night because I was like, oh, Cello Joe's on. We should all go support him on Twitch. We should watch it through there and not Facebook. And we lit up his chat, and then Kayla was like, "Oh, Twitch is actually pretty cool." I'm like, yeah, it is. So yeah, if you guys want to follow my tea streams on Twitch, I'm at TLetT. I'm across all of the social media channels at TLetT. Oh, I love you guys. Everybody's friends. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye to Facebook. Oh, there's lots of you guys there. Hey, Facebook, love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Brendan's gonna be on. We're gonna be talking about money and the Constitution. Feeling it. No politics, no political. Just good citizenship. That's it. See you, Facebook.